In this video, I'll share how you can make $1,000 a day on top of your classroom teacher salary by launching your own online tutoring business. I'll show you some of our clients already doing it, and I'll walk you through the 4 phases that you need as a classroom teacher to make this a possibility. We'll look at how you price your online tutoring services, what you need to provide to your students online, the advertising strategy that our clients are already using to build 6- and 7-figure online tutoring businesses, so you know what that looks like. And the reason why I share this video is because after working with over 3,000 teachers now at the Teacher Project, our goal is to transform the way that teachers educate the world. And so I know if I can give you some value, you're going to help us achieve that mission. At the same time, you get to start teaching on your own terms. This is not going to be one of those videos where it's just a ton of fluff. I'm going to show you actual training from some of the things that we actually give our private online tutoring clients to help them build their businesses. That way, if you like what you see, you can take it and you can implement it, or maybe you would like our help to speed up the process as well, and that's absolutely fine. I can tell you about that towards the end. So let's jump in and let me show you how to earn $1,000 a day on top of your classroom teacher salary. Let's go. Okay, so let's do it. Let's go. Here's how you can earn $1,000 a day on top of your teacher salary. So the first thing that we'll look at is defining your ideal student. I'll walk you through the exact steps on how to do this. I'll even share why it's important so you know what to do, give you some examples. But before we do jump in, I do want to preface this this is not just a load of theory. We're helping teachers all the time build 6- and 7-figure tutoring businesses. And so, for example, here's our Client Wins channel with our coaches in there celebrating our clients. Hey, this client's just made $700 a day. And this one here, they enrolled 10 students. Now we've got this one here has made a 1,700 sale. And that, again, these sales are happening on a daily basis. Someone else is making a sale for 597, again, 1 sale. Someone here has just had a 10K day. Hey, with the launch offer and annual plan, I've just had my first 10 grand day from Marcus Smith. And the wins go on and on and on. Nigel just came off a momentum call with Jared. He's brought in 39 grand in sales, 300 grand since he joined the Teacher Project. And again, I could keep going on and on and on with these testimonials. I'll show you more as we go through. And the reason why I share that with you is because if this is the first video that you're seeing from me, it's the first bit of content you've seen from me. We've been working with teachers now for the past 5 years, and we've helped teachers go from classroom teacher to 6-figure business owner in just like a matter of months. Okay, so let's walk through and go through the first step. So the first step is really defining your ideal student. Okay, and the reason why this is so important, if you don't do this, your business is not set up for success right from the beginning. So many teachers are taught to go online and start a tutoring business, and what they end up doing is taking a few different students here and there because they can tutor, right? And then it becomes a side gig, a side hustle, and you take in one student who needs help with math who's 8 years old, one student who needs help with math who's 16 years old, and it's completely different. And so you end up just tutoring these students one-on-one, and therefore you bring in an hourly rate. And when you do that, you're essentially just becoming what I call the Uber driver, right? The Uber driver is limited on the amount of impact that they can have because there's only so many passengers they can pick up in a day. And they're limited by time as well, okay? Which means they're also capped on their income, because if there's only so many hours a day, there's only so many passengers they can pick up. Each journey is going to vary and it's going to be different. So eventually you're just going to run out of time, and they're going to run out of a way to make money as well. And so when you don't define your ideal student, you end up teaching anybody who needs help. And so you have to place them on your teacher timetable somewhere to fit in alongside your classroom job. And therefore, you're only going to be able to charge so much per that 1 hour slot. And if you're not grouping your students, for example, then obviously your income is capped because your impact is capped as well. And you're just throwing your time down the drain. It's basically a glorified job. So you have to run a group-based model so that you can impact more students and not become the Uber driver. The first thing to make that possible is you have to define your ideal student, right? So that you can attract one type of student who sees you as the expert, the chiropractor, if you will, for your tutoring offer or subject. So they're going to be willing to pay you a premium rate so you can quickly replace your teaching salary and go all in on this. But at the same time, be very similar to the other students you're going to attract so that you can start to group them so you're not going to burn out teaching. So here's the first thing that you need to do in order to make that a possibility. The first thing you need to look at is what's the one subject that you currently teach that you're an expert in. You might have a few. You might just be a specialist subject teacher, and obviously then that's a lot easier. Or if you are teaching a few subjects, what's the one that you're the expert in that you're truly passionate about? But also, where's there more urgency? Where's there going to be more demand? And you can probably just stick this into ChatGPT or something like that and online and just do a little bit of market research. Yep. And so once you've defined the subject, the next thing to talk about is which student you want. So the type of student, think about age range, ability level, where is there going to be more demand? So for example, if I was a math tutor and I could tutor all age ranges, there's probably going to be more demand for math at a higher level because there's more riding on it. They're closer to their top exams, where if it was reading, on the other hand, it might be more elementary based. Okay, so you need to think about where's there more urgency and need for the student to get help in that subject. Okay, so now you've defined that. So you've essentially defined what you're going to teach and who you're going to teach. Now you need to define what result you're going to get them. So in order to do this, because people pay for results, right? People aren't going to pay you a premium just to tutor their kid and make them feel good, right? And boost their confidence. They're actually after tangible, quantifiable results. So when you think about the result, and I'll show you an example, think about in terms of quantifiable results, like maybe a 2 grade increase, maybe a 1500 SAT score, maybe a grade 7 to 9 in GCSEs if you're in the UK, maybe if it's a musical instrument, playing the first song or first 10 songs, whatever that is, okay? So it might even be gaining entrance into a college or university. Okay, becoming fluent in language. So you need to define what the actual result is. Now you've got an end point that you can start to market when you start to advertise this. The next step to this is people stop there. And so, hey, I'm going to help your child jump 2 grades in their reading or read on grade level. Well, look, the parent and the student don't just want to read on grade level. They want that result for a specific reason. So the next part to defining a result is really defining what is the dream outcome of your ideal students. What's the result past the result? Okay, so start to future pace it and think in terms of when you achieve this result, you're also going to get these career benefits or these benefits in your education. Maybe just for reading, it's to enhance all other core subjects. And maybe it's to get into a specific school. Maybe it's to gain a scholarship. There's a reason why the student wants the result. It's not just to get a certificate with a grade printed on it. So what's in it for them? What's in it for the parents? What's the big why? So there's 2 parts, 2 components to the result. The tangible result and then the dream outcome. Okay, so for an example of this, I help 1st to 3rd grade students read above grade level in 12 weeks so they can perform at the top of their class in every subject. Now, if you can add a timestamp when you start to market on how long it takes you to get students these results, that helps your offer, your tutoring offer. An offer is something that you offer in the marketplace, right? And say, hey, this is what I do. Here's my offer. Do you want it? And so it's essentially what we call the signature tutoring offer, right? And so this is very clear. It's who is 1st to 3rd grade students, okay? And obviously they're reading behind grade level because we're talking about, or maybe they're just at grade level. So people who aren't above grade level yet, the subject is clear, it's reading, and the result, okay, is very clear as well. Read above grade level. I could even get more specific and I could say something like jump 2 reading levels, okay? But here's the dream outcome or the big benefit to that. So they can perform top of their class in every subject, okay? Now, obviously elementary school students, the parents aren't worried about them getting into a top school or whatever at the moment because they're just wanting to help them build foundations. But if they can help them become top of the class, it's more about status at this point as well. So quick fill in the blank thing for you. I help, think about the age range of the student, fill in the blanks there, and achieve XYZ result, a grade XYZ or a 1500 SAT score. So you're thinking about the result and the subject here. X result in this subject so that they can big benefit or dream outcome. So that's simply all you need to answer. So now you've got that, you know, and you've defined who your ideal student is. And so you only want to market to this student. And if you put advertising content out, who's going to stick their hand up? That student. If another person sees it, that's not speaking to them. You're not communicating with them. Your messaging that you're going to build for your business on who you want to attract isn't directed to anybody else other than this person. So they're the ones who are going to stick their hand up. So that means when you speak to people, you'll then be able to start to group them so you can teach one to many and actually have a scalable business model instead of a glorified job. Okay, so that's step 1. Now, this is key. So the next bit is designing your premium program. So we'll look at like the program specifics, like what's actually in the program to, be able to charge $1,000 or more. We'll look at pricing, everything like that, okay? And so a lot of teachers aren't able to charge a premium because they just speak to a parent or student and they say, hey, yeah, we're going to tutor you a few times a week on Zoom. or a big wow. That's like me going to a personal trainer and they're saying to me, hey, yeah, we're going to work out once or twice a week. It's $1,500. I'm never going to pay that, right? So there needs to be more value, right? And so I'm going to walk through everything that you need in a premium priced program for online tutoring. So we'll look at a few things. The first thing we'll look at is the program length, okay? So when it comes to program length, what we recommend is start somewhere around 8 to 16 weeks. We actually recommend, we've found and tested with, we've worked with thousands of teachers. 12 weeks is a great sweet spot. It's enough time for people it's a realistic time frame to you to get some results for your students, see some results from them to commit as well. Studies obviously show that 90 days and 12 weeks is thereabouts 90 days. Studies show that that's a great time frame for people to be able to commit to their goals. Yeah. And it's kind of like fits in line with a school's term or a school semester as well. So 12 weeks is great. Now, after they complete that, that's not all they're going to work with you for. You can create a continuation offer. You can extend them. You could upsell them into different programs as well. They might need something else next, and they might just want to continue working with you, to be honest. Okay. And so it doesn't just stop there, but this model's great because a lot of teachers go in with, hey, let's work for the entire school year as well. And so that's kind of like me meeting someone saying, hey, let's just get married. And we haven't even had a date yet. Right. And so this is kind of the perfect length of time to get someone to work with you. It provides a little bit more predictability as well inside of the business. And if you're just charging like one-off hourly sessions, zero predictability, right? People can cancel anytime. You're consistently dealing with reschedules. And so this puts you in control. I think about it when I send my daughter to extracurricular clubs at school. With that, the basketball club, for example, that she attends, they charge me, the parent, by the term, and I happily pay it. And so this week, my daughter was actually off school. And so, of course, I didn't message the basketball teacher and say, oh, she was sick today, can we reschedule that session? No, I've made a commitment up front. So this allows you to have way more predictability inside of your business, okay? Now, the next thing that you need, now I will say, this next bit is something that you would build as you go. And so if you think about a business, the key to think about your tutoring business as you start to build it is just like a real estate developer would think about building houses, right? What they don't do is they don't build the house and then all of the houses in a new block and patch of where they're developing the real estate. They create one showroom, or even like before they even done the showroom, they create a vision of what the houses are going to look like, and then they sell them and people buy them. And so this is the same with your business. A lot of teachers fall into the trap of, I've got to get all my teaching resources prepared. I've got to build a study curriculum, all of that stuff. And it just slows you down. If you don't have any students in the beginning, you should just focus on one thing, getting students, okay? Because your business needs to bring in money. So you can provide a curriculum, but this is something you'll build as you go. Like I said here, this is essentially just a set of video lessons that walks your students through key milestones, the topics in the subject that you teach, the curriculum, just things that they would need to know in order to help them reach their learning goals, all right? Think of it like a online study Bible, so that if you weren't going to see any of your students, you could just refer them to this curriculum, this portal of lessons, and they could just follow it step by step. You could include assessments in there, homework, and it's essentially just, you're going to reinforce everything that's in this curriculum, okay, in the live lessons that you have with the students, or you use this as a reference to, hey, if you want to learn more about what we covered in today's lesson, if you go to this module inside of our online portal curriculum, you'll be able to learn more, or there's a test in there. And so you just create a backlog of essentially video lessons. It's like an online course, right? Now, you do not need to build or offer this in the beginning. You add it down the line and build as you go. Otherwise, you're preparing for that perfect moment, and perfect's the enemy of done, okay? So this is something that will definitely be a great value add, but something that you will add in to your tutoring business down the line, okay? So the first batch of students that you get, like the first 1 to 5 groups, just teach them, just show up, teach. They're going to love your enthusiasm, and that's really all that you need, okay? Now, 1 to 2 online Zoom lessons a week. So these are live lessons, okay? So they're delivered in a group format, 5 to 10 students per class. I would recommend. You can do more than that. It does depend on the subject, the age range, the ability that you're teaching them, okay? But 5 to 10 is a good sweet spot to begin with. And then once you've got some experience, you can decide and test the elasticity on your group sizes, Okay, so they're delivered in a group format. They're just a combination of teaching important insights around the curriculum or the subject that you're teaching, and then also reviewing and testing the actions from the students to make sure they're always moving forwards. I recommend using a teach it, test it method. Now, this part shouldn't be that difficult because if you're a teacher, you've already got the teaching element. You've already got those skills. And so you know how to get your students results. And so many people get overwhelmed of, oh, it's, like it's online, it's different. Just teach, all right? The students want to be there. These are students who are going to sign up that are willing to learn. They want to learn. It's not like you're having to deal with a whole class. The group sizes are way smaller. And so if you're a good teacher, you just need to take that enthusiasm and confidence to the Zoom lessons and you'll be absolutely fine. But I recommend, if you completely got no idea on this, I simply recommend a teach it, test it method. Okay, so essentially if you were having 2 lessons in the week, teach something from your curriculum, okay, or some sort of learning outcomes that you want to get across that week based in the subject where the students are at. And then session 2, if you've got a second lesson in that week, you just make that one more interactive. It's more test style, Q&A style on what you covered in the first lesson. And you just keep moving through like that. Now, I recommend starting with 5 to 10 students per class, as I said, depending upon your experience, okay? Now, here's another value add that you can add into your premium program. A one-on-one acceleration or test, assessment, review session. So think about parents' evening at school. I know with my son, I had a parents' evening recently where I jumped on with his teacher. Very quick call, like 10 minutes, but the parents love it. I was really lent in and loved hearing about how he was doing or where we could help him more at home, right? And so this is essentially just that. You need to be able to give feedback to your students. This does depend upon your capacity. And so if you have, as you grow, you would probably get other tutors and teachers to do this for you. But essentially you want to have strategically placed one-on-one sessions or tutoring lessons with your students. So if you think about this as a hybrid model where most of it's group, but you do have elements of one-on-one touch points in the beginning. Now, again, based on your capacity, you might not actually be able to offer this in the beginning, and that's fine, but you would be able to build to a point where you actually could offer this, and at least you now know and you can future-pace things of what you need to do in order to build a premium price program. Okay, so on the acceleration call, it could essentially just be an assessment. This could be in the beginning. So when a student first signs up to work with you, first to 1 to 2 weeks, jump on with them, give them a one-on-one lesson, and that will help also remove things like buyer's remorse, like they've just enrolled, they've just started, they don't want to be a deer in the headlights, and you're jumping on with them, and you're really kind of over-delivering, teaching them, assessing them. And so as your groups do grow and you start to build your tutoring business and it gets bigger and you've got more students, once you have more groups, and we'll touch on this in a second, it allows you to actually place those students in the correct group based on ability as well. So you could create a higher set, a lower set group, all of that. That's what I would recommend. Something at the beginning of their journey. It keeps them excited, reinforces that they made a great decision to invest into their education. Now, in the beginning, as I said on capacity, you could actually just do this in a small group. So what you could do is, if you're going to do this acceleration or assessment session in the beginning, you could just have one slot every single week that you reserve for this space. So any new students that you speak to that have enrolled in the last 7 days, you say, hey, this is when I host my weekly onboarding call, and you do like a little test once a week, and that helps you leverage your time. And then later down the line, you might do a one-on-one exam review session. Okay, so with the next one-on-one, it's not essential. Again, these are optional. I'm just showing you what makes a premium hybrid group tutoring model. And so where you want to think about placing the next one-on-one session, if you can, is if you think about peaks and valleys of a mountain range, right? Students are going to come in the beginning of their journey. They're at the peak. They're excited to get going, but eventually their motivation's going to start to wane, right? And it's going to wear off. And so you want to be able to pinpoint when that is. Maybe it's after a month, maybe it's after 6 weeks, at the midpoint in their 12-week journey. And so placing a one-on-one lesson there, just like the teachers do with their parents' evening at school, right? It's placed midway through the term, and that allows you to have a touch point, a milestone to aim for. So this is essentially just a milestone called a check-in. And so place it where you feel that perhaps the motivation, the students need a little bit of a boost, and it helps them then push forwards. It helps with retention, lifetime value of your students. They want to keep working with you. So you can absolutely do that. and you'll just need to work out where that is, and you'll get that experience from actually running students through, okay? So I said it would get your, just putting here as well, if you look on my screen, if you're watching on the video, it's going to help your students get better results. You've got a more premium service, a better product, but it is based on your ability. Long term, you will get teachers, teaching assistants to do these for you, okay? Guys, quick interrupt. I hope you're enjoying the video, but I wanted to make sure you picked up your copy of Teaching on Your Own Terms. It's my best-selling book, and it shares with you the exact 5 steps what I've used with over 2,000 teachers at this point, helping them build their dream online teaching businesses. It went to bestseller in 7 categories. It's been featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. And I know you're going to love it. Inside of the book, you're going to learn things like how to position yourself as the go-to tutor in the marketplace, and the offer that you can create to get your ideal students reaching out, and how to communicate that. I'll share with you what I've seen as the best advertising strategies to get in front of new students and parents who want what you've got, how to sell your services, and everything you actually need to include in an online group tutoring business to make sure your students crush it and get great results. There's some free gifts and bonuses in there. I think in the first couple of pages, there's a link. You can go and grab some free gifts on me, but I know you're going to love it. Teaching on Your Own Terms. I'll leave a link down below in the comments, and go and pick up your copy today. Now, the next thing you need is a student and parent community. So because you are teaching online, there aren't the personal touch points with your students, right? So you need to create this environment, this winning environment, where the parents and the students you're working with value what you're offering as a whole package, not just what goes on in your Zoom lessons. Because if you do that and all you offer is Zoom lessons, they're going to anchor the cost of what you're charging just to what goes on in that 1-hour lesson or 2-hour lessons if they're getting 2 a week, okay? So you have to be able to offer some form of community. And in this community is essentially a hub where you can communicate with your students, your parents, and create this winning environment. So you can do what we call internal marketing. You can share motivational tips. You can do Star Student of the Week and post about this and, you know, really get people excited. This could literally just be a Facebook group or a Facebook group chat, WhatsApp, School, which is another platform, okay? Now, next thing, this is something you would add in. It's optional. I call it the catch-up class, or some people refer to it as a weekly drop-in lesson or office hours. What this is a catch-up class. So as you get more students, you're probably going to find there's a few strugglers, people might fall behind, and so you can structure this catch-up class a few different ways. One way is to just have it as that, a catch-up class. Anyone that you see struggling, it's kind of like a teacher might say, hey, stay behind after school or stay behind at lunchtime, I want to do some more work with you. Well, this is essentially just that. So if you have this 1-hour block each week on your timetable, again, this helps you leverage your time, that any strugglers, you say, hey, I'd love Johnny to come to the catch-up class this week. It's on this time, and you get a small batch of students in there each week. That allows you to keep moving them forwards. You could open this up to anybody. And again, it's then an extra value add. So I'd only recommend this as you do start to get more students, because you want to ensure retention is high and you're over-delivering. And so again, it takes the focus off what you're charging, which we'll come on to in a second, as just being the 1 Zoom lesson that the students get, okay? Or the 2. And so my daughter attended a reading tutors lessons. This was actually one of our clients. I taught them how to do it and how to set all this up. And so they had this book club for her reading. And so she had her lesson in the week, but then they also had this book club that the tutor was hosting. What that meant was my daughter was able to get in front of the tutor more, and it was really fun, and she loved attending this book club. So it's something that she really valued. I knew that she loved it. And so that's why I was willing to pay a premium to this tutor to teach my daughter online, because I had a great program. It wasn't just she was rocking up on Zoom once a week. So that's a few ways that you can do it. It can just be an after school club, a lunchtime club type of theme, a book club like I was mentioning, homework club, Q&A where the students can just come and ask you questions. You can theme it, or you can use it as the catch-up class to push and then make it invite only to keep students going, okay? Now, the next thing is the world-class support system. So you really just want to have 1 or 2 ways that students can contact you, and you want to be super upfront and honest about this from the beginning, because the last thing that you want when you launch is parents messaging you at the weekends and emailing you and calling you. And so you do just want to create 1 or 2 simple support systems, and you just communicate with this with parents and students once they enroll. If you need some help, here's the way to get in touch. And this can just be email. You can create a simple Google form, and that can be pinned out and send, or pinned in your learning curriculum or community that you create, if it's in like a chat group or whatever, some sort of ticket system. And then you probably want to be, in terms of support, you could be saying, hey, We're going to be doing a video review or a learning review or email for the students. Obviously, that's not too scalable when it's just you. That's more for when you're building a team. You can add it in down the line. It's best to start with less and then add as you go on all the things that I'm sharing, because it's very difficult to take from people, where it's a lot easier to give and over deliver and exceed expectations. Okay. So think about how you're going to support. And then, so in terms of the price point, you're just looking at, for this, you can see the value in it. Like, this isn't just tutoring lessons. This is over 12 weeks. You get all of this. And so you can easily charge $1,000 per student for this, right? Which means you need just one student per day to make $1,000 per day. Okay. Now, of course, you can charge way more than that as well. And in the beginning, some people might need to start a little bit less, because you might need to get your sales skills built out. You might not have done this at all. And so you might need to take in a few students as you get started with this at a slightly lower price point. And that's absolutely fine. But remember, a business is something that's supposed to, be built long term. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So if you're looking to build a big business, be okay if you need to get a few kind of case studies, testimonials, charge a little bit lower. But then you might offer less. It might just be one lesson a week and lower commitment from you in terms of what you're offering. Get some testimonials, get some results, and then you could hike your prices up. And that gives you an opportunity to really test your teaching methods out, and at the same time get some testimonials to improve your marketing, build more trust, validate your teaching methods, and improve your sales skills. And then once you've done all of that, absolutely something like this you're going to be charging $1,000. A lot of our clients charge way more than that. Okay. So that's kind of the premium price program. Now, the next thing is how you then structure your teaching timetables. If you're in the classroom, you might be thinking, yeah, well, I'm teaching all day, every day. Okay. And so obviously we've already spoke about the reason why you would do groups is because it allows you now to have more impact. You've got a business that's more scalable. Whereas if you just started teaching students one-on-one, they're going to want to break it down per lesson. They're going to want to pay you by the hour. So you're never going to be able to earn that much. All right. And then before you know it, you've built a stacked up timetable. You're fully booked and your life's down the drain. Right. And so here's what you would do for the first 10 students with your teaching timetable. So let's say you enroll the first 10 students. You want to teach 5 students per group. That's 2 groups. Now, if you're offering 2 lessons a week, that's 4 classes per week. Right. So that's just 4 hours. Okay. So I got an example here. That means you might do class 1 on a Monday, 6 till 7, class 2 on a Tuesday, 5 till 6. And then if those classes are having 2 classes a week, it'd be 6 till 7 for class 1 again on a Wednesday. So I've got a day's break. And then that class 2 could meet again 5 till 6. And so that's 4 hours of teaching, 5 classes in a group. There's your first 10 students. And if you were to charge $1,000, that's $10,000, right? Just through that. Okay. Now, I will say this, if you do start offering a slightly lower price point because you're just getting started, I would only actually offer one group class per week to the students. Okay. And then once you've got it up to the $1,000 or pound mark and above, that's kind of when I would add in 2 classes a week. Okay. As I said, start with less, add more as you go. Okay. Based on constraints, meaning the students need more touch points, that type of thing. And then from here, you just open more time slots as you grow. So once you've validated this, you've showed you could fill those students, fill those group classes, those 4 one-hour slots. So your first 2 groups, first 10 students, you brought in $10,000. You validated that you've got a viable business model that students want to invest into you. So now it makes sense for you to either perhaps open up a few more hours if you can alongside your classroom job, or you could open up more group spaces. You can fit more students into the group, again, based on subject, based on perhaps your experience, or you might even make the decision at that point to go part-time or reduce your teaching hours in school because you've got something scalable here, right? So it's ultimately dependent upon how much you want to make. I would personally recommend, based on what I've seen from all of our clients, you do not really want to deliver more than 2 to 3 hours of lessons per day. If you do that, you end up with no time to speak to new students, market your business, and just generally, keep the business running, okay? Because otherwise you're just working in it, right? You're just teaching all the time. You don't have a business, you've got a job. And so what you then do, once you start to reach capacity, so we normally find like the sweet spot, as I said, is 2 to 3 hours. I wouldn't even probably go through 3. I prefer 2, which is essentially 10 hours of teaching a week if you're doing it Monday through Friday, right? So here's how that might look. You might have even just 4 classes, 4 groups, right? They meet twice a week. That's 8 hours. So class 1, 5 till 6 on a Monday, and class 2, 6 till 7. Those two classes, class 1 and 2, they might meet again on Wednesdays, okay? Then Tuesday is class 3 and 4, 5 till 6, 6 till 7. Those two classes meet again on Thursday, 5 till 6, 6 till 7. So you've got 4 groups there. You've got 5 per group. That's 20 students, right? If you had 10 per group, obviously 40 students, you've doubled your... So you can just play around with the numbers there. Now, if you felt that you could add another group into your timetable, absolutely, you could do that on a Friday, or you could have that third hour on one of the evenings and have class 5. Once you are getting there and you're filling that group up, that's the time to hire another tutor. Do not take on any more. And so generally when you're about 80% capacity, potentially even 75%, great decision to start hiring another tutor to help you grow, okay? Because that's how you're going to keep making sales and keep making that 1,000 a day, all right? So let's just look at how you create demand just to round this off. And so there's a few things you need. Very simple. I'll walk you through the strategy our clients use. And so you essentially just need some form of advertising copy, right? So here's an example of what our clients might use in the summer. I've just given you one example. It's short and sweet. Now, when it comes to actually advertising your services, you're of course going to use social media marketing, okay? Because it's faster, it's more predictable, and especially if you're teaching all day in the school, you don't have the time to be posting on your social media channel for you. You need something that's working in the background, okay? You don't want to be relying on referrals because they're unpredictable, and leads and sales for your business are just like food is for the body, right? Without it, you're going to die. You're going to starve, right? So your business needs leads so you can actually fill those group classes. And so you're going to launch some social media ads, and we'll walk through what that strategy as an overview looks like. But essentially, here's an example advertising copy you might use. This summer, so if you're advertising this summer, I'm recording this video in the summer, so I've just put the summer, make it relevant because people engage with it more. This summer, I'll help your child insert big result. So this is where you insert the result that you offer, jump 2 grades in their reading, so that they can insert dream outcome, so they can be top of the class in all other subjects. Now, this is optional, but if you can add a guaranteed time frame. If you don't see an improvement in 12 weeks, for example, or 30 days, I'll keep teaching them for free for the next academic year until they do. Now, obviously, you would have to have ran some students through first in order to just put that guarantee, because you know what actions each student needs to take to be successful. So then you can hold people accountable. If they do all of these things, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, they're going to be successful with this. Click the link below to enter your details and book a call to apply for one of the 10 spaces. On this call, I'll run you through the exact plan to help your child boost their reading level by 2 grades. Super simple, straight to the point. Here's what I'll do for your child. I'll help your child insert big result so that they can insert dream outcome. And if they don't improve in 30 days or 12 weeks, I'll keep teaching them for free until they do. Okay, click the link below, enter your details, book a call to apply for one of the 10 spaces. On the call, I'll walk you through the exact plan to help your child boost their reading level by 2 grades in 12 weeks. Keep it straight to the point and direct. Okay, so it's just stating the offer. Now, if you're watching this on the video, you can see here simple advertising creative, which is just the video or the image that you're going to pair with this. It just wants to be a super simple image that says your offer. So just think about a block, a colored block. Just think about a square on your newsfeed, keep it all one color, and then just put the text in there. Here's what I'll do for you, and just have an image. Now, our clients, as they get better, that we work with, the teachers, obviously they're using things like video and stuff like that. And the reason why they do that, easier to build rapport, easier to build trust, you can engage, you can educate more, and people are they're gonna come onto a potential enrollment call or student review warmed up because they've seen you. Now, if you're not good on video, you don't have to do video, so don't worry about that. A lot of teachers worry about that. It's not needed these days, especially with AI, right? It's not needed as much. You can get AI to do it, or you can get someone else to do the videos and stuff for you. That's not a problem. You don't have to put your face on it, okay? It does help, but because then if they end up speaking to you, they kind of feel like they've already known you before they've jumped on an enrollment call. So you'd use an advertising creative that's super simple. It just has basic text on it to start off with. It's very fast and easy to test. So here's what the actual strategy looks like from a bird's eye view. Okay, so you place a Facebook ad or Instagram or YouTube, whatever you're running this, you send someone to an instant form on Facebook. So this is an actual form that's built into the Facebook system, Meta, whatever they want to call themselves these days. You state the offer, you get the person to leave the details in this form. So you collect the customer's information, name, email, phone number. You then give them the opportunity once they've done that. And you could actually add some qualifying questions into this to filter out bad fits. As soon as they've entered in their details, they go into your lead follow-up system, so you can email these people. You've probably heard fortunes in the follow-up. Next bit is that you give them the opportunity to schedule in onto your calendar, because we were very clear about that in the beginning, right? On the advertising copy, book in a call. And that's why it's very important when you advertise, you have to walk your client and prospect through the next steps of what you want them to take, so you can future pace it for them. So they know once they give you their details, they're going to be booking in a call. And so then you give them the option to book a call. Not everybody's going to book, right? You're probably shooting for something like 10% of people to book a call with you. And then you want to be boosting that to 20% plus through email marketing, because you collected their details, and actually calling up and SMSing your leads, okay? Because remember, they gave you their information. They might have not just been able to find a time on your calendar to actually book. Now, once they've booked in, and once you've followed with some of the leads to get them booked in, you get them on a Zoom call. They've scheduled a Zoom call with you. Before the Zoom call, if you can, you provide them some form of homework. This could just be information on you. It could be like a video lesson. As you get student testimonials and results, you could give them some testimonials and results. And so the whole goal is to do a little bit of the selling up front, so it's already done once you jump on Zoom with the parents and students. And so when we're working with our clients, what we do is we give them like a word-for-word script that they can just follow and master to obviously sell the premium price tutoring packages, okay? Now, that's really it. That's the entire model. And so what I want to share with you guys is exactly like what I said at the start. Now, you might be thinking, hey, this just works for like maths teachers or science teachers or language tutors, whatever. We've helped tutors in, and if you look here on our site, we've helped teachers in pretty much every single teaching niche that you could think about, okay? So test prep here, French, high school coaching, just general coaching, maths, AP calculus, full curriculum in the UK, writing, elementary reading, A-level math, early years, AP physics, ACT prep, calculus, high school math there, English as a second language. One of our clients, Hanford, who was bringing in 10 grand a month, dyslexia, one client here, science in the UK, university finance students, again, dyslexia. And so Quran even, geography just here, Andy growing his geography business, pre-K even. STEM's a great one, English studies, French, multiplication, software and app creations like coding. Darren did 50 grand in a single month. Debbie did writing, Spanish over there. Victor's crushing it. And so we've helped so many students and teachers do dance, even online. And so we've helped so many clients go through this. For example, Tara, she replaced her teaching salary in just 3 months after working with us. And so, like I said, the clients that we work with, some of them already got tutoring businesses, but the majority, they're starting from ground zero, 0 students, okay? Tara replaced her teaching salary in 3 months and went on to do 100 grand in the first 8 months. Dish, for example, over here, we actually interviewed him, did 14 grand in 3 months, okay? Luke Savin came to us, 0 online tutoring business, right? When we met Luke, he was still in the classroom, and he built a 6-figure business in less than a year, working with us at the Teacher Project from ground zero. You can see here, insane, what an insane day, a 10 grand month, went on to do 19 grand. And this was after about 6 months of starting. He'd done 19 grand in a single month, okay? Then we got clients like Jared over here. Jared was struggling, right? Like to grow his business. He was thinking about completely pivoting out. He'd already started to try and tutor online, couldn't make any closes. He worked with us. You know, he built 6-figure business in the first year. You can see here his post inside of one of our chats. This is him right at the beginning of his journey when he only had 3 students in there. He's now hired a tutor. But recently we actually interviewed him because he did 139 grand in the first 4 months of 2025. And again, Jared had to start somewhere, okay? Zach Boykins, 20 grand in his first few weeks after working with us. Luke Marks, even college student, 6-figure wins on a 6-figure run rate. Evan Roberts. Evan did this alongside of his classroom job, right? He made 11 grand, okay, in just a 1-month period, and it only took him 4 months. So imagine you've spent all these years going to university to get a degree, and you're earning a pittance teaching in the classroom, and then you upgrade some business skills and acquire some new skills, and then after 4 months, you're bringing in 6 figures, okay, or you're on a 6-figure run rate, right? And so Evan actually did go ahead, enrolled 100 students here, and he hit 100 grand cash alongside of his classroom job. You can see here he was with his kids. And so The reason why I share this with you is if you're a teacher, you could absolutely go ahead, implement what we walked through in this video. But if you've got goals and you like to go faster, that we can absolutely help you do that. And so what I'll do is I'll leave some links in the comments down below this video if you're watching the video, where you can go and get access to my best-selling book, Teaching on Your Own Terms. And that will help you have a head start and walk you through things like the sales process that we didn't cover in this video, and really just make sure that you know exactly how to provide things like homework to your students after you've got leads to warm them up. And so I'll leave a link down in the comments below. There's a free course when you grab access to it as well to really help you hone in and define your ideal student and go through more pricing strategies with you. I think you'll love it. And so if you're even just a little bit interested about this, go and grab the book in the comments down below. And if you're watching this on the video, just hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.